other day I received this lens from TTArtisan, a 23mm 1.4 manual focus lens. I thought it could be fun to try it out and make my Fuji camera as vintage as I can. I did not buy any new accessories for the sake of this video, so I used what I already have. My Fuji X-E4, this TTArtisan lens, and a Cinebloom 10% diffusion filter. From time to time I like to shoot with manual lenses to shake things up in my photography practice, as it gets a good way to feel a bit more connected to your photos and invested in the process of taking them. You have to slow down a little bit to check your focus. It's also a good exercise for the ones new to photography to understand how the f-stop affects the depth of field and the sharpness of the final image. Manual lenses tend to be a bit less perfect compared to a first-party autofocus lens. They usually have more flare, sometimes a color tint, a soft feeling at wider apertures, and an overall different vibe that can be a little bit reminiscent to what you can get on film. This video is really not a technical review of the lens. I'm all free to create any kind of video and say what I want about it. I already got one of their lenses before, a 50mm f2 for the Sony full frame system. They are cheap and they are quite good for the price, I believe. This 23mm one is opening at 1.4, and I feel like it's a better lens compared to the 50mm f2. Overall sharpness, clarity and micro contrast are definitely better. The main issue I have with the 50mm one is a significant loss of contrast and sharpness and some sort of ghosting effect in the middle part of the frame when you are shooting against the light. Here with this 23mm 1.4, it seems to hold much more of this contrast and sharpness in this shooting scenario. Otherwise the build quality is pretty good with a full metallic build. The focus ring is smooth and it feels good when you're turning it left and right. The best part is probably the aperture ring with this very satisfying clicking tactile feedback. If you are not familiar with diffusion filters, let me quickly explain what it does. It is just like any other filter that you screw in front of your lens, but this one creates a softening, smoothing effect on your final images. It makes your photos and videos a bit less sharp, but in a good way, and it cuts this digital clarity to create this more soft and dream kind of look. It is oftentimes used at night to have these blooming parts around the different source of light, but I actually like a lot what it does when shooting at daytime too. Having those very soft highlights and smooth roll-off that feels very organic. talked in a very recent video about how I like to embrace my reality and how I'm more drawn to shoot a lot in my nearby areas. They are definitely not the spots that are recommended in photography travel guide and can seem very boring, but I love them. I think it's very exciting to try to make good use of light and composition techniques to make those very normal looking streets and urban landscape looking as best as possible. That day I went to an area full of residential tower buildings and I had a lot of fun playing with light and shadows. I was also trying to compose shots to have a sense of scale, or more so to lose it with those big buildings all over the frame. When you understand that there is no boring subject or there is no subject that do not deserve to be photographed, everything will fall into place and you will start enjoying taking pictures of just about anything. A very quote-unquote boring subject will always look better if it's photographed with good light and right composition than any of the 7 wonders of the world photographed poorly. I think I don't have much more to say, maybe just a reminder that 23mm on APS-C makes a 35mm equivalent, which is a standard and very famous lens for street photography, travel and everyday life photography. And I think that also contributes in favor of this vintage, nostalgic kind of feel. My goal for the next months to come is getting better at shooting with the 35mm, and for that I think I found a way to make me practice as much as possible, but I will introduce that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot for watching, wishing you a fantastic day, and see you soon. Bye.